Hi everyone, Bernard here. I hope you're all staying safe and well, and welcome to the Citizen Challenge. We look forward to another game. Thick and fast these things, aren't they? Yes, we look forward to the game at Craven Cottage. Yes, we trip to Fulham. I've never been to Fulham. I have to admit that. When I was younger, I went to a lot of away games in the 70s, 80s, but I didn't get to London that much apart from Wembley and a couple of others, Arsenal. But yeah, I've never actually been to Fulham, which is a shame. I believe it looks nice anyway. I mean, that new stand as well. If you look at that, there's some images. Obviously, you can see there some artwork there. It looks quite a lot nicer, doesn't it? Certainly better than that place just up the road, isn't it? At Chelsea, Stamford Bridge there. That looks a bit of a hodgepodge, doesn't it? Yeah, so we're at Craven Cottage on the 13th of March 2021, 8 p.m. kickoff, Saturday night, so not too bad because I'm not in work Sunday, so that'll be all right. Although I'm having me COVID jab, so that'll probably be knowing my luck, I'll have a reaction to it. But we'll see what happens anyway. But at least it's after the game, and I'm sure I'll recover for the midweek game against Borussia anyway. Yeah, it's on BT Sport, this one, as far as I can see. So today we'll have our usual features. A look at Fulham, how they're doing. Yeah, interesting season so far for Fulham. My little lineup with who should be dropped, who should be rested, and who should be given another chance after the game against Southampton. The history boys, of course, just to look back a couple of games and in the past against Fulham and how we've been doing over the years at Craven Cottage in particular. Of course, the odds on the game with my Just for Fun bets. Please, if you're new to this channel, please push that subscribe button, and please, if you enjoy what you see, push that notification button so you know when these things are coming out. As you check the playlist, there's loads of stuff on City Past, City Present, City quizzes, lots of different things. I try and get sort of one vlog a day if I can. Obviously, I do actually have to work full time. I've got 1.5 jobs as well as this, so but I do try and get a vlog out every day, which is not bad going, is it, for someone who's obviously it's in my spare time, if you like, but I hope you enjoy it anyway. So please push that subscribe button if you're not already done so. Any City fans, please point them in my direction. I'll be very grateful. And you will see some stuff on film and TV as well. Yeah, not just football I do. I obviously probably put a video or vlog out every day on film and TV as well. So one of each, so I do 2 a day at least. So yeah, if you're any interest in that, have a look. Please have a look. I do movie reviews, TV drama reviews, information vlogs, lots of different things. So just have a look, plough through those playlists. There's lots of different things. I'll try and mix it up a little bit. I'll try not to get too boring. And I've said before, I try and do something a little bit different to everyone else. And I hope you appreciate it and enjoy it. That's all I can ever ask. And please, if you follow or friend me on Facebook and Twitter, there's a couple of links on screen there. I do check every 3 or 4 days and follow and friend everyone back on there. And all comments, please, all comments are welcome. Sometimes, obviously, I try and check all the comments, and I sort of more or less do. If I miss any, please forgive me. But I do try and answer as well, whether it's just a thumbs up and a smile, or whether I actually write something back. I always at least try and read and appreciate all your comments. And if you haven't got time for a comment at the moment, just give us a little thumbs up. It's nice to get views, but it's nice to get thumbs up, isn't it? Right, the preview then on this Fulham game. Yeah, the last time we played at Craven Cottage, not that long ago, was it? I think they only had a season out of the Premier, didn't they, when they got relegated? But I think they come straight back up, didn't they, more or less? So it's the 30th of March 2019, so the season before last, obviously. Obviously, it was Fulham 0, Manchester City 2. Just having a quick look at the BBC Sport website. I do sort of remember the game. Obviously, I wasn't there, but it was obviously on TV at the time. I do remember it being quite a sunny day, if I remember. Manchester City cruise to the top of the Premier League, said BBC Sports, as they condemned strugglers Fulham to their 8th consecutive defeat. Yes, we would win that season, wouldn't we, the league? Pep Guardiola's side quickly established their superiority in the West London sunshine, with Bernardo Silva's 20-yard drive finding the bottom left-hand corner inside 5 minutes. Bernardo Silva, what could do with him popping a few in at the moment, couldn't we? He's perhaps one of the things that we need off him a bit more. City had 10 shots in the first 15 minutes. Yeah, we did pepper them a little bit. Added their second when Sergio Aguero sublimely lifted the ball over home goalkeeper Sergio Rico from close range. Some woeful defending from Fulham, who have now conceded 72 goals. So they weren't doing very well, were they? It's no wonder they weren't doing a lot better this season. The worst record in the top flight, and contributed to both goals with Timothy Fosu-Mensah and Joe Bryan, both guilty of gifting the ball to City near their own goal. Scott Parker's side is still there, isn't he? Also struggled to make an impression at the other end of the pitch and failed to register a shot on target. More of that, but I bet they'll get a shot on target this game. I don't know what tells me that, but our defence is getting a little bit more generous, I think, over the last few games. I've been having a look at that, and I think I know reasons for it, but yeah, so I think they will. But let's see. As I say, it was 2-0 quite early, and then we just sort of more or less controlled the game, and it's typical City, that, isn't it? If we nick another one, fair enough. If we don't, we go on to win 2-0, or we let a last-minute goal in. That's usually what we do. But yeah, so that was a comfortable one. I mean, will it be as comfortable tomorrow? Let's have a talk about that later. Our overall record away at Fulham, we played 30, so not many over the years. Obviously, we've been in different divisions most of the time, haven't we? We've won 12, drawn 9 and lost 9, so we've got a better win average at their place. Scored 58 goals and let 55 in, so yeah, quite tight on the goals. Our biggest win was back in 1926-27. Nope, I wasn't there. Shush. A 5-2 win. So it's not massive, is it? But it's okay. A 5-2 win, 26-27. That was January the 15th, 1927. A gentleman, I don't know his first name. My apologies. I do have a quick look at these and try and find things out. But obviously, sometimes it's easier than other times, and it's something I'd have to go away and have a quick look at. But a TD Gibson got a couple of goals. But that was only his second game that I could see for City, and it was actually his last game for City as well. So I'll have to find out about Mr. TD Gibson, because say he scored twice in that game, so it couldn't have been too bad. And as far as I can see, only actually played 2 games for City in total. So that was an interesting one. I'll have to find a little bit about that. I'll have to have a look at Mr. Penny's stuff, or Dr. Gary Jane's, have a look at that. The other scorers were Billy Austin, Sam Cowan and Billy Cowan. Yeah, no relation, I don't think, those two. I'm fairly sure with that. I might be wrong there, but I don't think they're related. Useless, absolutely. I couldn't find that they're related. Anyway, if they were, let me know. I'll obviously, but my apologies with that. As I say, I do try and have a little bit of a look, but I do have a limit of time I can start looking for these things, so I have to be careful sometimes. I could spend sort of an hour looking for one name, which isn't very conducive to getting stuff out for you, unfortunately. Yeah, City famously missed out on promotion that season. That was in the second division. We were actually just on the thinnest of goal margins at the end of that season, 26-27. We actually won our last game 8-0, which more or less should have guaranteed us just sneaking it. But obviously, I think it was the team we were up against, obviously slightly did okay, and they won by quite a margin as well. So we missed out on goal average, which is such a shame. So the biggest, so that was a good season, 5-2. But I think we sort of yeah, a bit of up and down. He had a quick look. We had some good runs, and then we sort of peter off a little bit, but interesting. And our biggest defeat was back in 1983-84, so that's in my time. As I say, I didn't get to that one, but I'm sure some of you did that are watching this. In the Cannon League Division 2, of course, a 5-1 defeat at Craven Cottage. A bit embarrassing. They weren't exactly pulling up trees, Fulham, at the time. The City team that day was Williams, Reed, May, Bond, Power, McCarthy, McNabb, Baker, Parlane, Hartford and Tolman. The sub was Ranson, who was unused, Ray Ranson. Fulham's team, yeah, not overly. Payton, Parker, Carr, Scott, Hopkins, Gale, Davis, Coney, Rossinia, Horton, Lewington, and their sub was a guy called Tempest. There's a great name, Tempest, yeah. So it's Billy McNeil, wasn't it, in charge at the time, so we were embarrassed. We were 4-0 down by half-time, which wasn't great. I'm sure the fans who were there that day didn't appreciate that much. Obviously, we went 5-0 down, and Neil McNabb actually got a consolation late on for City, and this was actually Asa Hartford's last game playing for City as well that day. The Fulham scorers were Davis got a hat-trick. Davis, 27 minutes, 37, 45 minutes. McCarthy, that was our McCarthy with an own goal, and Rossinia scored in the second half as well. We did miss out on promotion, obviously, in the Cannon League Division 2. in fourth. Obviously, the top three went up. We were a good, but we were a good 10 points adrift at third place. So we're never really likely towards the end of the season of get a claim in that place anyway. As we remember, or sort of remember, they all meld into one those bad seasons sometimes, don't they? So yeah, that's the history. How are they doing this season? Well, it's interesting, isn't it? I mean, they are third bottom. They're still third bottom now. But they're in good form at the moment. They're not losing. I mean, they're not winning every game, but they've just had one defeat in the last 7 games, which includes 3 wins and 3 draws. So that's not too shabby. They've also kept 5 clean sheets. So I expect a little bit of a tougher nut to crack here, perhaps than Southampton at the back. But 5 clean sheets in those 7 games, which is quite impressive, conceding just twice as well. Park is sort of looks to steer them a little out of the bottom 3, doesn't it? I mean, they've given themselves a chance, of course, with those 3 victories, 3 draws and a defeat in the last 7, but they've always kept in touch, haven't they? They've never been sort of floundering in the bottom 3. They've always been the bottom 3, but they've always been doing enough just to keep in touch with the teams above them. Never sort of getting more than 4, 5, 6 points behind the 4th bottom team. So at this point in time, they do look the more likely team to obviously escape from that bottom 3. Obviously, the other 2 guys, Sheffield United and West Brom. Yeah, and forgot then. I have to check my league ladders then. Yeah, I mean, Sheffield United and West Brom look as though they're floundering a little bit, aren't they? But Fulham, if the team is going to escape, it obviously looks as though it could be Fulham, couldn't it? They've only got a couple of injury problems. Tom Kearney and Marc are both ruled out, but they're the only injuries. So he's got more or less full squad, similar to what City have. Yeah, I mean, they look organised, my little thoughts. Fulham look organised and disciplined, which obviously Scott Parker's playing well. And they have took the chances as well. So they have, even though they've not been sort of raining shots on goal, they have actually a good sort of ratio of chances taken and done well against Everton, Sheffield United and Liverpool. Let's face it, they beat Liverpool. But I mean, perhaps no great shakes at the moment. But hey, to go to Anfield and beat Liverpool, I mean, they're a wounded animal at the moment. So that's not bad going. At home, they're not great. I mean, their away record is slightly better than the home record. I think they've only won 2 at home all season. I think they've drawn about 4 as well. So they're much better away. So that's probably a good sign. But it will be a game between 2 teams that are confident. I mean, we're fairly confident, aren't we? I mean, that we can achieve our target, let's face it, is to get that league tied up as quickly as we can. And their target is obviously to get that at least 4 from bottom space. So they won't give this one up without a fight. They're not going to use this as a free hit and go gung-ho. I think Scott Parker's going to be tactically going to be very, very good in this one, and it will be a matter of if we can break them down early or whether it's going to be a longer one, which we don't want, do we? But there you go. We'll have to be as good in front of goal as we were against Southampton. Let's be honest about it. But as I say, their defence seems a little bit of a tougher nut to crack than perhaps Southampton's. But we will have to take our chances again, which we tended to do. We will have to get our bounce. We have to get men in the box, and this is important. We seem to do that against Southampton. We do seem to get a lot more men in the box nowadays without the out and out striker. So that could be good. Although I think we might play a more or less a striker this week. Again, I'm trying to put Pep's head on. So we do need to be at it in this one, I think, and we will have to be patient, as I said, because a lot of people are thinking that at half time it could still be a draw. We'll have to sort of keep ploughing away and keep going into the second half. I don't want that. I don't think any of us want that, do we? Well, it's nice to get a couple of early goals and then sort of add to it. But yeah, I think it's going to be a lot tighter than against Southampton, although obviously at times it looks as though they were going to do all right, Southampton, didn't it? But to say it was a bit, I think we're going to need to be a bit more patient, unless we break them down quite early. Then obviously the game plan won't change. It'll stay the same as long as it's only 1-0. It's only if City get a couple of goals, or probably Scott Parker might think of something, but it might be damage limitation. Then he might not be overly worried. Just accept it for what it is. Yeah. So my 11. Let me know what you think your 11 is going to be, and what I've tried to do with it. It's very hard. I mean, I've been putting my 11s out there that I've been thinking is probably my best available team. But obviously with Pep changing 5, 6, 7 players every game, which discussed before. I've talked about before. I talked about it on the Southampton summary when I was summing that up. I don't particularly think there's a need for it, but hey, what do I know? I've not played the big books, am I? But it'd be interesting to know. So what I've tried to do is put Pep's head on. It's probably not, perhaps a little bit more air than me, I suppose, and sort of gone on the basis of him resting players. So yeah, so I'll tell you my dropped, etc. in a moment. But my starting 11, I'm going to go this. I said this is a bit of me, a bit of what I think Pep might do. Obviously, Edison is probably guaranteed. Yeah, that's fair enough. I think he'll give Walker another chance. I think Walker, and I would love to see Stones and Diaz, but I just think he's going to rest Diaz. I just think so. I think we're going to see Stones and Laporte. But I don't think he's going to play Zinchenko. I think he probably saves Zinchenko for the Borussia Mönchengladbach game, to be honest, the European game, where I think he fares a little bit better. So I'm putting Cancelo at the back as well. Obviously, well, that's just where he should be, but where will be is another matter. And then in front of that, yeah, I mean, you see, I've gone Rodri and Gundogan, but obviously we're going to, you talk double pivots, don't you? Now, if KDB wasn't playing, Gundogan could easily play a bit more of a playmaker up front, but I'm going to play KDB in this. I'm going to go Rodri, Gundogan and Foden, and then up front, KDB, Jesus and Sterling. And I've tried to say, I'm not saying that's what I think it should be, but I'm just trying to think what Pep's going to play with the Borussia Mönchengladbach game coming up. We've got a couple of cup games basically, haven't we? Got Borussia Mönchengladbach, then we've got Everton as well. So he probably can change it around a little bit. I mean, I've rested from the Southampton game. I've rested Fernandinho. I've not dropped him, just rest him. I've rested Mahrez because he's played quite a few. I think he's played 4 or 5 games on the trot now. So I've rested Mahrez, or he came on for one of them anyway. I've rested Diaz and I've rested Zinchenko. And the only player I dropped probably from Southampton, and it hurt me to do it, I've just dropped Bernardo. I just thought, obviously, you'd probably, give him a second chance, but I don't think he will. I think he'll keep him on the bench. And as far as second chances, I think Laporte wasn't great, but I think he'll play him. And Walker didn't have a good game against Southampton, but I'm fairly sure he'll play him as well. So there you go, that's my 11. Let me know what you think. So it's Edison, Walker, Stones, Laporte, Cancelo, Rodri, Gundogan, Foden, KDB, Jesus and Sterling. I sort of looked at Torres, but I thought, no, I'm not going to put Torres in for that one. But we'll see. As I always say, if we get 7 or 8 of those right, I'll be quite happy. Match officials, yeah, obviously match officials are always important. I don't ever want to see that lump again officiating a City game, but it's obviously going to happen, isn't it, unfortunately? But of course, I'm talking about Mr. Moss. But yeah, for this game, it's Andre Mariner is the referee. The linos are Scott Ledger and Simon Long. The 4th official is Robert Jones. On VAR is Craig Pawson, and the assistant VAR is Andy Halliday. Yeah, so my little score prediction, I do a couple on my Just for Fun bets, obviously, but basically, based on that game, I'm going to go for 2-0 again. I'm going to go for the same score as it was last time, and as I say, I think it'll be quite a tight affair. I think we might score one early, but then obviously the next one will be later on, but yeah, I'll go 2-0, but obviously I'll hope for a 5 or 6-0, but I doubt that against Fulham. I think they're quite well organised, Fulham, and I don't think we're going to... we're not gung-ho at the moment. Anyway, I just don't think you think of that start against Southampton. We play it about nicely, but and we get men forward, but we're not all blazing anymore, are we? And not the sort of all blazing, firing team that we perhaps used to be at one stage. But yeah, I'll go 2-0. Let me know what you think and what your score will be. All right, just have a quick look at the odds, please. I don't condone gambling, and this is just for a bit of fun. I only bet sort of pennies on this, literally. So please, when the fun stops, stop. And I don't ever gamble what you can't afford. A small loss last time on the Southampton game, obviously minus 1.9 points, so nearly 2 points. So it's just a couple of quid loss. I'm only doing £1 a point at the moment, just for a bit of interest. I know it's pathetic, but yeah, if I don't want to go mad at the moment. Just to, it's just a bit of fun, really, as I say. Yeah, odds for the Premiership. Yeah, we're 1 to 250 on. I think we were 1 to 200 the other day. So obviously beating Southampton took us out to 1 to 250. So unless you want to put 250 quid onto in a pound, it's not really worth it, is it, to be honest with you? Fulham to be relegated. That's the interesting one. Actually, they're not the third favourites to be relegated, even though the three from the bottom. It's actually Newcastle, the third favourites to be relegated. So they're actually 7 to 4 to be relegated, fourth favourites. So that's an interesting. So the bookies can see, obviously, Fulham are playing okay, and certain other teams like Brighton as well could get dragged into it. But yeah, Newcastle are actually third favourites now to get relegated. That'll be an interesting, it seems to be every season, isn't it? They do seem to struggle. Managers to go, yes, Scott Parker's fairly safe on managers next to go. He's 40 to 1, so I don't think Parker's going anywhere soon. And obviously Pep's still 100 to 1. The odds on the match itself, City are 1 to 3, so not the most longest on odds anyway, is it? 1 to 3. The draw's 4 to 1, and a Fulham win is 9 to 1. They're the sort of general prices. There's a couple of higher prices at some of the obscurer bookmakers, but I'm just looking at the major ones at the moment. Both teams to score no is 7 to 10, so the bookies think that's more likely. And obviously if I say 2-0 I do, but I don't particularly, because you'll see in a moment. Yes is 21 to 20, so I'm more inclined to that, to be honest. That's not a bad price an odds against. I mean, I'd be more inclined to have a go at that. I mean, I'm not, but that took me interest. Correct scores 2-0 as I predicted. That's 6 to 1, so that's your favourite score, really. So I'll have a point on that. And I'll go 3-1 as well. I'll let them have a goal. I'll go for the bog standard 3-1, which is always a safe bet. And it's always usually about 12 to 1, which it is at the moment. So that's a point on that. And under-over goals, yeah, I can't imagine there's going to be less than 3 goals in the game. It could be, because as I say, I put 2-0 down, but I'm edging my bets on the fact it could be 2-1, it could be 3-1, etc. So over 2.5 goals, so that's be 3 goals in the game, is 8 to 11. So I don't think that's a bad price. So I've gone for 2 points on that. If you're a bit more confident, expect a 3-1 or a 3-2 or a 4-1. Over 3.5 goals is 15 to 8. That's even a better price. But I'll stick to a couple of points on the 8 to 11 over 2.5 goals. Half time, full time, yeah. City's evens, which is fair enough. That's not too bad. But if you fancy a draw in City, that's 3 to 1. So that doesn't sound too bad. Anytime goal scorers, yeah, all the usual suspects. I think Aguero's clear there. I mean, you got Sterling at 6 to 4. You got Mahrez at 13 to 8. But I don't like going for anything much under 2 to 1. You fancy a couple of outside chances. If Cancelo plays, he's 9 to 1, and John Stones, he had his purple patch. He's gone quiet again, hasn't he? But you can get 13 to 1 on John Stones if you just fancied that for a bit of fun. And my last bet is actually going to be on the cards. Cards shown. They're usually not dirty games against Fulham. I've known a couple where perhaps tackles have flown in, but we don't get a lot of cards shown usually. So I'm going to go under 2.5. So as long as there's only 2 cards shown in the game, I'm all right. But that's 4 to 6, so that sort of verifies that point, really, if you think about it. So I'm going to do a couple of points on less than 3 cards being shown. So, only 2 cards being shown on that one. So hopefully they won't suddenly turn dirty or City won't start kicking everybody. I'm sure they won't. If you fancied over 2.5, you fancy 3 cards to be shown plus, that's 11 to 10. So that's not bad. I say both of those are okay, actually. Both of those are very doable. But as I say, it's not usually a dirty game against Fulham. There's not usually that many cards shown. Then and if Fernandino's not playing, there's one less anyway, isn't it? So that's not too bad. Just a couple of ones before we finish. To win by 2 goals, that was quite interesting. That was 3 to 1 to win by 2 goals, which sort of piqued me interest. And to win by 1 goal, which it could be 2-1. I not particularly think it'll be 3-2, but we could have a 2-1 here, couldn't we? Is 13 to 5 for this is City to win by 1 goal, of course, not Fulham. I'm not looking at Fulham. So that's 13 to 5. So that's not a bad price. That's just under 3 to 1 to win by 1 goal. So you could cover both options and make a little profit if you say it's just a bit of fun. Make a couple of quid on that. So anyway, that's my look at the betting side. As I say, please, I don't condone gambling, and please only have a bet what you can afford. And before we go, we're not really here. That's your sort of thing. If you watch it on the City channel, yeah, the guests this weekend for the We're Not Really Here show are Michael Brown and Richard Dunn. So there you go. You want to be in the company of Michael Brown and Richard Dunn. It's about an hour before kick-off, half-time, and then a few minutes after the game. So it's Michael Brown and Richard Dunn. So thanks for joining me for this. Let me know your lineups. Let me know if you're having a little flutter. Let me know if you're having a little flutter. Let me know what you think about Pep. Is he going to rest 5, 6, 7 players again, or is he going to be a bit more reined in? You know, I'm quite happy with him resting 2 or 3 every game, but I do sort of worry a bit when he rests 5, 6, or 7 players every time. But as I'm told on Twitter, obviously he's won so many trophies, he knows what he's doing. But I'm only asking the question. I mean, we're not allowed to have not criticism. I'm just being constructive as to what the reasoning is behind it. If you please have a look at my little. If you've not seen my little review of this Southampton game, I was just questioning why not just make 2 or 3 changes, and every 3 or 4 games you can still rest players. So elite athletes, it should be all right. Athletes, it should be okay, because I don't imagine they're getting hammered for training at the moment. Anyway, have a look at that. I gave my views on that on this Southampton review anyway. So. But interesting, let me know what you think anyway. Thanks for joining me. Of course, I'll be back with a review of this game on Sunday. Obviously, it's a bit late on Saturday night, so I won't be able to do it Saturday night, but there'll be a review on Sunday, so please check back in for that. And also, if you could check out my recent Citizen channel vlogs, there's a tribute to Ron Phoenix, who sadly passed away the last few days. So there's a little 7-8 minute tribute to Ron Phoenix about his a little bit on his playing career at City. He obviously was at City from the end of 1949 to the 59-60 season. So please check that out. There will be a link. There'll be links below. And of course, that was the week that was. There's a little quiz, little fun quiz, 21 questions. That's due out. Probably get that out on, as I'm doing this, it's Friday. I'll probably get that out on Saturday morning of the game. So get a chance to do that before the match at the night. Just looking back at the United and Southampton games, of course. Fun questions for that. For kids can do it as well. There's some easy questions, some perhaps you have to have a little bit of knowledge about, but keep your eyes out for that. Push that notification button if you haven't already. You want to listen out for it. Anyway, thanks for watching today. What we're going to do the rest of the day, have a great one. Look after yourselves, look after your friends, look after your families. More importantly, let's all look after each other. Till we meet here again on the Citizen channel, or perhaps have a flit across, have a look at my film and TV channel. Whatever it is, all I ever ask of you out there is please stay safe, Blues. Come on, City. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.